Hello guys, and welcome to a new Star Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 1 versus 1 on Slutsk East, and I'm going to be using Gruppe Harteneck with the Vanguard deployment type. I'm up against Atkpwr, who has chosen to use the Fallschirmjager with the balanced deployment type. Once again, I'll make sure to leave the picks and bans in the description if you are interested. And that is because this is Game 2 of Round 2 of the Steel Division League Season 9, Division 3. So we are going into the second game. If you don't want spoilers for the first game, then make sure to go watch that first. But I'm just giving you guys a pre-warning. That's it. I lost the first game. So going into this one, obviously, I was a bit annoyed that I'd lost the first game for many reasons, really. First was that I picked the wrong division for the map. I picked that map in the first place, and then I played badly, pretty much, and Atkpwr played well and beat me. Not that that was a reason to be annoyed, but that's what happened. So Atkpwr definitely schooled me a little bit in the first game, and I wasn't that put off by it when I ended up with Gruppe Harteneck on Slutsk East in exactly the same position that I rolled over Battlegroup in round 1. So I've ended up with what I feel is a very comfortable position. But this time around I'm up against Fallschirmjager, and that matchup is extremely different than going up against the 2nd Guards Tank Corps, which is the opponent that I had before. So we'll have to see how this one goes. On the left hand side I've gone for the Sturm early on with a 45mm AT gun, and I brought in the 75mm artillery piece that can also be used as an infantry gun there, like I did the previous time I was playing on this map. I've got the 2 Sturm, one zooming up to the middle of the map, one moving up onto the right hand side with a Panzer and a 45. Onto the hill I have a Panzer. I've got some of my Reitjäger and the Panzer and the Grenadier with the 45mm AT gun and a couple of the VK 901s, very similar to the Little Lux recon variants. Then we got the Flak 38 20mm at the start with the T-34 and the Panzer III. Into the town on the right hand side I've got the Panzer Sturm Grenadier with the Reitjäger Kosaken. Unfortunately Pak 38 is going to snipe my Reitjäger at the start, so pretty bad one for me to lose early on, but at least the Sturm are going to be able to kind of prevent that from being too much of an issue. 45mm gun in the meantime is going to be able to engage the Pak 38 because it doesn't have any HE fire to fire back, so the Pak 38 is just kind of a bit of a sitting duck there. On the left hand side my Sturm beats the flamethrower, so that's good, but in the middle the 233 kills my Sturm before it unloads, I believe, so that wasn't good. On this side the 233 takes out my 45mm AT gun, and my infantry is kind of forced to fall back on that side. I'm not too concerned about this area because I knew that this would be an area that he focuses on. He definitely has like the better HE long range advantage. Like he can bring in Grilla, he can bring in even the Sturm Tiger if he wanted to control the open ground. So I'm doing what I did against Battlegroup basically, where I wanted to focus on taking the hill so that I could then control like all of these flags on the right hand side. And we've already got off to a decent advantage here. My Reitjäger moving through the cover did pretty well. But I've ended up bumping into the Pioneerführer and the Begleitgrens. Now here I really need to kill this Pioneerführer. If I kill the Pioneerführer, then we basically take away the extra veterancy from the surrounding units, and that makes my units way more effective than his, particularly when it comes down to the MP44s, which benefit a lot from veterancy. T-34 on the left did kill off one of my VKs. On the right, my T-34 is kind of moving into position to try and kill his 222. 45mm getting a shot onto the T-34 there, managed to get a cheeky side shot, so that was nice. And meanwhile I'm moving this 45mm to the right hand side to try and maybe deal with the 233 in the middle if it tries to move up. It's also moving this across maybe to get some pressure on that flag, just to make sure that I'm not at a disadvantage early on. Now you may have noticed this is a Vanguard versus balanced game, which is I guess a lot more on the line for me than in the previous game, where it was like Vanguard versus Maverick. I feel like Vanguard versus Maverick I'm very confident because I can play for the early game, but I can also play for the late game if things don't go so well early on. But in this case I have to make the first 20 minutes of this match count, because if I'm not in a good position after 20 minutes, he just beats me by default because he's playing balanced, and his income is going to be like way higher than mine is. So my Panzer III gets gun jammed by the first shot of the T-34. That's unfortunate. Going to have to fall that back. Panzergren's getting pinned down by that as well. So move up my T-34 to engage his T-34 instead. Mine has 3 vet, his has 1 vet, so I'm kind of counting on my veterancy here to pull me through. And, well, would you look at that, I get gun jammed again. And some RNG really kicking me in the teeth early on. The T-51-9 on the right does manage to also kill my other VK here. So good job by Atkpwr using that. And now that's also going to be putting pressure onto my 45mm AT gun that can't fire back because it doesn't have the range to do so. I do have a 45mm like moving up on this left side just to kind of like cover the edge of the ridge to stop this kind of thing happening. But I don't believe I saw that being fired at for a little while. Now my 45mm AT gun on the left does manage to take out the 233, but there's also a 251-9. I managed to armor crack that and take it out, which was really clutch of my AT gun. And I've also brought up a Tiger early on, but I have to be really careful with these Tigers. It's the reason that I brought up the 20mm and the flak early on, because he does have Ju-87 cluster bombers, and he also has Ju-87s with the big guns. So I'm gonna have to make sure that like I kind of shut down his airplay if I'm going to be utilizing Tigers. And so I'm bringing up like a 20mm Black 38 with the 20mm tow onto that. My VK takes out the MG in the open, which is really good, and the T-34 here is going to be engaging the 259, so I managed to take that out. But he's now towed up an 88, and that's going to be killing my VK out in the open, so not really able to get much more out of that. What was otherwise really good engagement for me in the open gets shut down by that 88. So I'm going to be investing in initiative 42 so that I can fire position in front of the 88 to take it out. Meanwhile, I need to kind of recover this right side position. I definitely can't push as hard as I could before, because my initial infantry had really kind of failed to make any significant impact. The main reason for that is because he has the Begleit Grenadiers, and he also has the Hemmingerding Pioneers, these guys with the MP44s and the HE. So at close range these are super strong, at long range they're super strong. On the left side I did manage to kill a 222 with the artillery gun here, so that was good. Also going to be able to get a shot onto that unit. 251-9 does go down to the T-34, but this MG42 is going to take up my 45 further down. So there are like trades backwards and forwards. Like, this is the biggest problem for me, actually, as well. Like, other than the infantry trading badly, having 2 tanks that are just completely out of action, this is like, you know, a good 100 points here that's just been gun jammed that I can't repair until phase B, because in my deck I didn't have any phase A supply, which is my bad, honestly, in the deck. I probably should move my phase B supply to phase A, but yeah, anyway. I didn't have any AA to fix, or supply to fix those up, otherwise I definitely would have, and that would have allowed me to kind of like overwhelm the rest of the armor that Atkpwr has up on the ridge here. Now my right Jaeger are in heavy cover and his are in light cover, so at this range, you know, I do alright, but the T-34 I believe shot at my light Jaeger, and it ended up like putting the flames underneath them, which made them move, so they ended up losing the combat. The T-34 on the left is just going to have to back up. I'm trying to get my Panzer strike forwards in the meantime, but his Begleit Glens with the MG42 are going to be taking that out. Unfortunate. So, meanwhile on the left, Sturm 42 going to be looking to take out the 88. So I'm fire positioning just in front of the 88, just so I can get some suppression on it before I direct fire it. I'm also bringing in the 81mm mortar on the left, which I can then move to the right if I want to help out with the push on the hill. But at the start, still 13-11, and we're only 2 minutes from phase B, and consider that I am up against a balanced deployment type. I did end up getting pushed out of this position as well, because his infantry did manage to sneak in here, because I moved this 45mm to the right, whereas before it was like in this position, shooting up the road. That sucked. I've also got a Hasselhock here that's like going to unload and try and push into the middle. I've got the Ratjäger on the left that's going to try and move through the cover. It should win at close range, but if it gets caught at range against MG42s, it's going to suffer. I'm also trying to make a bit of a play here in the meantime, get on top of the Hemengöring Pioneer in the town, but attack power is going to micro away from that. I'm going to try and like make sure I don't get grenaded by those Hemengöring Pioneer. You see I've got my Gunnerführer and Kasaken on return fire just so they don't reveal themselves, because this Kasaken in the church is giving me a lot of recon information. I did manage to take out the 88 on the left. Now the Sturm 42 and the Tiger going to be putting pressure on the MG 42. I was maybe thinking that I could put enough pressure on this flag to take it briefly. And whilst I have this here, I can also put pressure into the middle of the map. So this is actually looking relatively good for me right now. I'm utilizing the points that I have to try and gain ground here. So this time around, like, things weren't going so well in the town due to his infantry. And in the open, I'm actually finding an advantage. What I probably should have considered is that the longer the game goes, the more the long range falls in his advantage, because he can start to invest in things like the Sturm Tiger. But I managed to get a flag back there, and Gruppe is going to pop up on the left hand side, which is real bad news for my Hasselhock. The Hasselhock are going to have to do a run at. Meanwhile, the Begleitgrens that are on the edge of the heavy cover here going to be able to get some good damage onto my Ratjäger, because they have more MP44s than I do, and they have the MG42. So that's obviously not ideal. I'm going to be sitting there just firing at him for a little while till he stops, because just wanted to take advantage of the fact that it was moving. And yeah, now we've just moved into phase B. I'm not too worried that it has hit phase B, because I was kind of planning on a bit of a timing here. For the first sort of like, well, basically midway through, I would say, phase B, I still have a pretty dramatic advantage. So I planned basically to get the Opel Blitz in at B, fix up the gun jams, and then basically use the mortar on the right hand side to make ground. That was the plan. But I lose one of my Hasselhock that would have been used to push up. That's not good. And now this one's just being free hit by the 88. Also, meanwhile, on the left, I actually missed this, but, well, I didn't miss it while I was playing, but for you guys, I missed it. The Ju-87 came in, and it side shot my Tiger and my Sturm 42, because my AA was further to the right. And the worst part about this, the thing that annoyed me the most, was I saw this coming a mile away, and I still let it get the better of me. It was really annoying, because I brought this AA in specifically to cover those two units, but I let them get too far away from the AA, and attack power just like punished the crap out of me for that. So that was really bad. So that basically shut down my open ground play on the left side. So now I'm very, very much like reliant on making this work. Like I'm going to have two T-34s, I'm going to have the two VKs, I'm going to have the Panzer III and my infantry. This is basically going to try and push through onto the top of this hill to enable the stuff that's on the bottom to make ground. But this Hasselhock's been pushed out of position in this building, and the Hasselhock that was like out in the open, I believe, just like died or something, I'm not sure. Anyway, 81mm mortars just trying to get rid of anything that would stop the infantry, so I'm currently just mortaring the MG42. His Begleitgrens just delete one of my low health Ratjäger early on, but I kind of used that low health Ratjäger to find his other infantry squad, so managed to take that out. I'm just kind of being a bit cautious because of Panzerschrecks. But we got the double T-34 engagement, my two versus his two. I managed to get a penetration onto him, he bounces off me. I'm going to be able to take out one of his, he bounces again. I get the second shot, or the third shot in there, and the second T-34 goes down. So I get my RNG back a bit there after the gun jams, so I was relatively happy with that engagement. 88 still just free killing my Hasselhock on the right hand side, and you're probably wondering why I'm not falling this back. It's just because I wasn't really paying attention. I was so like focused on making this play happen and getting the micro engagement onto his tanks that I didn't see this dying. I have brought up a couple more like artillery pieces. These are really cheap. They're only 50 points. So I'm going to be using this one to kill the Pak 38. If I can just kill the Pak 38s on the main road, then my infantry will stop getting sniped. I was just making sure that wasn't happening again. I do manage to find his second Helmengarding Pioneer on the hill, which is really good. Again, just removing veterancy from his infantry allows the infantry engagements to go more in my favour, as long as I manage to maintain the veterancy on my own units. And meanwhile, on the left, I have brought up another Tiger, but this time the AA is going to stay a lot closer, just to try and make sure that that doesn't go down the same way that the ones did in the open. Because the ones in the open, I mean, this is like fair enough, right? They're right out in the open. Any aircraft can come in and take those up, especially when my AA is over here. But this time, the AA is right behind my T-34, or my Tiger, so I'm much more confident in that position than I was the other one. My artillery kind of failing at the moment to kill the Pak 38. He's going to be trying to counter battery me a little bit as well. My VK's actually managed to get all the way through here, which is really good. So it basically tells me that there's really not much in my way. I just need to get some infantry up here to kind of capitalize on my position. So this is looking really good. This is exactly the push that I wanted to get out of the end of phase A and solidify on the top of the ground. But meanwhile on the left, he's got the double Guler and he's also got the Sturm Tiger. So that's not good, obviously. I'm trying to reinforce the left side as well because I really should control this flag. And if I manage to control the flag on the left and I control the two flags up on the hill, then I'd actually be at like a 15-9, so that would be pretty big. HE-111 is going to come in for the bombing strike, since I've killed like two of his 88s already, or at least killed one and then pinned down the other. That bomber's pretty much free to come in unless he's going to buy a fighter. But there are the Panzerschrecks that I was worried about. The Panzerschrecks are going to kill my T-34. The other one killed my VK. But the bombs hit really well here. The two 1,000 kilogram bombs completely wiped the infantry in this area, so that was nice. But yeah, losing my armor push here is kind of bad. This VK though, pretty free to run around, and I saw the 81mm mortar falling back, so I was tempted to try and go kill that. And the thing that attack power needs to do at this point is just stall. That's all he needs to do. I was really hoping my VK would be able to kill this transport, but it had a real hard time turning its turret around, which was so annoying. So I had to just run away from that engagement because that was like a Panzergram with a Panzerschreck or something. But the Gleitgren's going to be going down. Kasaka and the Leitjäger are going to be pushing forwards. Artillery is just like constantly firing at the 88, trying to keep that pinned and kill it off. I'm very, very close here to capturing these extra flags. But Gleitgren's going to be catching up my Hasselhock there, unfortunately. But we're now at the 13-11. I think probably for the first time in both games. Anyway, Kasaka going to be spotting that infantry, allows the Tiger to help the engagement. The Hasselhock Soderschok, I brought them in so that I could fire from the heavy cover to the heavy cover. This AT gun's still not dead yet. Trying to kill that with my artillery. Managed to finally kill the 88. Panzer III does go down to the T-34. I have brought up a Tiger. With my 20mm here, I was hoping that that would kind of be enough to cover me. I've also got my Stug into a good position here, which does manage to kill both the 231s as they come down the road. Now if I can keep this Stug in position and cover this road, that's really, really good for me. Now on the left, Ju-87 coming in. My AA trying to stop that. But Tiger, not microed, does get side shot. And I'm really hoping that I can shoot it down at least. And I do manage to get it. But yeah, losing another Tiger here is really, really bad for me. The reason that losing that Tiger is bad is because he has the Sturm Tiger and the Guler. And my plan was to basically have one Tiger on the right side and one Tiger on the left side so that he couldn't push too much in the middle with his armor. He would have to deal with either side. But losing that Tiger was really, really bad for me. I've also got this Tiger, which ended up on like a really weird order. I can't remember why that ended up on an attack move order here. But my plan was basically to get all Tigers on this ridge and just cover this open area on the right. Especially when I did have my infantry in position here. I've got the Cossack in there at the moment. I've got a couple of Leitjäger. moving up to try and help out. But obviously not in the same position I was, and the Stug 3 losing to the Panzer 4G is not good for me at all. Hasselhock here trying to get on top of the Begleitgrens on the right hand side. Right, Jäger are unloaded early to attack move into the town. The reason I was unloading these early because I wasn't sure this AT gun was dead still. Like, I guess if you zoom in you can kind of like potentially see it, but you can see that he was like rebuying them. So yeah, I didn't want to get caught out by that, and every time that he was bringing them in now I was just making sure to focus them down. Like, this artillery was actually doing me a lot of favours. But we are, you know, 1 minute till phase C, and in phase C he does have a massive advantage. So I've really got to like try and make the play that can win me the game, and to some extent I already kind of made that play at the end of phase A when I bought in the supply truck, fixed up my tank, and went for the play across here. That pretty much was my play. I was trying to do my best to get as much ground onto the top of the hill as I could. Now here I do manage to micro the Tiger into the right direction, but my AA just completely fails me. Ju-87 gets through, and well, this time around I don't think they even shoot it down. Yeah, it manages to get away, so that was just like insult to injury really. I do have artillery come down on the Panzer IV because I knew that got penetrated by the Stug before, so just trying to take that out. Plus I go your solo shot, kind of getting caught out in the open, and since my Stug died, I don't really have anything to cover this road anymore. Tiger, going to be looking for the kills instead. Right, Jäger, going to be able to force the Begleits out of that building, but the T-34 going to be stopping me making any significant ground. And the Panzer IV does go down. Right, Jäger moving up, but it's 12 to 12, and we're in phase C. So basically my time is up, and my two plays that I had left, the one with the Tigers and the one with the T-34s and so on, both didn't work out. Atkpwr did a really good job of basically just slowing me down. I think Atkpwr is a very good balanced player. It's what he's comfortable on, and he doesn't have the pressure that I do in order to take ground. Now I'm trying to train myself into being a sort of vanguard maverick player. So I'm happy with the playstyle and I'm happy with the pressure. But just this time around, I don't think I was prepared for the Hemmengöring in this position. Because I was obviously very comfortable with the map pick and the division pick this time around, and I think there definitely was potential. But yeah, the double gun jam, not having the supply in phase A, relying on 20 mils that failed me, was all just bad for me. Like, if I'd brought in the SDK Z71s in phase A, that would have made a huge difference. It would have probably prevented my Tigers from dying. I could have had it rolling around with my stuff out in the open, so I wouldn't have lost like this early like open ground stuff. Like, I would have been able to control this flag for a long time. I might have even been able to take this flag using the Sturm and the Tiger, which I was moving to the left. I would have been able to control this flag as well, and that was basically the whole play. Now with my Tiger going down, Panzer IV kills that off. That's pretty much all she wrote for this one. And after 22 minutes and 3 seconds, Atkpwr takes the victory once again. So he's going to 2-0 me in the Steel Division League Season 9. Well played to him. You can see at the end, it was relatively close on kills and losses. 1,895 kills to 1,795 losses, but I just didn't make enough ground. Simple as that. There was a moment where I had a hope of taking that hill and controlling his reinforcing roads from that hill, but it just didn't really come to fruition. And I think the overall strategy that I had was right, and playing for the left hand side with the Tiger and the Sturm was fine against the 88, because I basically punished him for bringing in that 88 and moving it too far forwards. That's a lot of points for him to invest on that left side and lose. But when he like brings in a Ju-87 and just takes that value straight back, that was obviously really, really bad for me. And then I just focused completely on the right side, which again was the right play to do. It's just every time attack power, he had a way to slow me down just enough that I couldn't break through. And these Panzer pretty much came in and, well, came up clutch at the right time, taking out T-34, taking out the VK, because these were sort of the staple units that I needed. It's just the infantry that I had already been killed, and the reinforcing infantry that was on the way was just like out of time. Like basically, I just timed it wrong. But here's the hero Ju-87 that killed both the Sturm, the Tiger in the open, and the Tiger on the hill. And then this Tiger going down to the Ju-87 there as well. Actually, okay, I guess this was the one that got shot down actually on the left. And then this is the one later in the game. Yeah, tough one. Real tough one. I was very confident going into this one with the division, the match, and with the map. But obviously wobbled a little bit from the first game. But the Hemmingering just managing to hold its ground long enough for attack power to win. Yeah, that's it. So GG to attack power, 2-0 for him once again in the Steel Division League. We'll have to see how we get on against our next opponent, Hobo. We'll see how that one goes. That's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.